go ahead and if you have that tweet that I sent you, and it was just one random dude, but many people have been tweeting this about Trump purposefully crashing the stock market short term to essentially refinance debt at lower rates. And the guy that I sent you, I mean, he's not the only person speculating on this. And I find this interesting. You kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but this has even more details. This is at Max Brown BTC on Twitter. I don't know too much about the guy, but it echoed the same sentiment that I was seeing a lot of people say. He said, Trump wants to crash the stock market. The U.S. government, I guess he's yelling this at us. The U.S. government has to refinance $7 trillion of debt in the next 6 months. There's no way Trump wants to refinance it at a current 10-year yield. This is why he's crashing the stock market and pumping bond prices. As bond prices will go up, yields will come down, and the U.S. government will be able to refinance their debt at cheap. Not only that, lower bond yields will also push the Fed to do rate cuts, which is bullish for risk on assets. I do think Trump wants that ultimately. So don't panic over the short term and look at the longer picture. So
yeah,
that got 20K likes. So quite a few people saw this. I'm sure there's some thoughtful comments too. But yeah, what do you make of that? I mean, I don't think it's any kind of grand conspiracy. You kind of alluded to it too. And I do think it's part of Trump's game plan here.
well, it might be. And yeah, I mean, again, you've got to bring things down. If you want to get inflation down, you got to get realistic prices. And there is a devastating amount of debt that is coming up for they're going to have to refinance it very, very soon. So this is probably the quickest way to get the rates down and get the bond prices up so that it can be done a lot cheaper. It'll save us, I forget, what did they say? We're paying what, $3 trillion a year in interest alone. You've got to get that number down if you want to do anything to inflation and to the debt. That's like a credit card debt that's just out of hand, and you make $1,000 payment and it only takes $100 off your balance because you got $900 in interest.
Yeah.
It's just you've got to do something, and I think he was set up for failure by the last administration on purpose to make a lot of these things come due right after they left office. So yeah, I think it's, if anything, it's a good play. People were worried about the stock market. These are all short-term things. I wouldn't be, and if that's his goal, then he's looking at the big picture. So I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, I think the tariff negotiations are playing a huge part, obviously. And it's incredible to me, and I don't want to get way too off into the tariff stuff, but it's incredible to me that so many people cannot see some of this as pure negotiating tactics, with some of the wild numbers that we see out there of 25% tariffs and other countries going back and forth. And we saw Canada cave the other day to one part of those negotiations. But, I don't know how, look, most people that don't support Trump think he's like a lying bullshitter and stuff like that. So why would it be so hard for you to believe that he doesn't really mean some of the things that he says or some of the things that he's trying to impose because he's trying to negotiate with people? I don't know why people don't see that. And he even himself has pushed back windows on some of these tariffs and stuff like that. So I think it's clear that there is a plan that he wants to get to, but a lot of the headlines that we're seeing are purely negotiation tactics,
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think a lot of the things he says and does is to get reaction. Play tough guy a little bit. A lot of times when he says, no, sorry, they do come back within a day or so and rethink their stance. It's happened multiple times now with different countries on different tariffs. So, you got to play hardball, and he knows how to do that. And he also knows that we've been, as a country, taken advantage of for a long time by a lot of countries who put stuff out there, and when you don't say no, they just keep pushing more and more. And and when you're not saying no, it just that money just gets out of hand, and that's what's happened over the last years.
Yeah. Yep, I do agree with you. So it'll be interesting to see how the trend continues here, but I think he definitely has a plan. Yeah, Hex Girl, art of the deal for sure. So,